Good day, lovely students and scholars all over the world. You are once again welcome to a fun physics class with Teacher Oge. Today, we shall be talking about the topic derived quantities. Derived quantities. What are derived quantities? Derived quantities are those quantities that are dependent on the fundamental quantities and can only be obtained from simple combinations of the fundamental quantities. Again, they are those quantities that are dependent on fundamental quantities and can only be obtained from simple combinations of the fundamental quantities. All right, before we go ahead, let's explain this in detail. The other day when I was talking about fundamental quantities, I illustrated with a building area where we need things like water, sand, block for the work. I stated that water and sand are not depending on anything for its production, thereby making water and sand the basic or fundamental quantities. In the other way, block is depending on water, sand for its production. In other words, no matter the quantity or the size of cement but there is no how we can produce block without water and sand. Therefore, block is a derived quantity because it is depending on water and sand, which are fundamental quantities. All right, we go back to physics. What are the examples of derived quantities in physics? All other quantities that are not among those 7 fundamental quantities are regarded as the derived. Example, the area, the momentum, the force, the pressure, the acceleration, and so on are all among the derived quantities. All right, meeting our specific objective, what are derived quantities? They are those quantities that are dependent on fundamental quantities and can only be obtained from simple combinations of fundamental quantities. Example, we have the area, the volume, the pressure, the acceleration, the power, and so on and so forth. All right, let's go to derivation of the units of derived quantities. We shall be starting with the first one, area. Area is given as the product of length and the breadth. Anything measured with a meter rule, the unit is meter. Then the unit of breadth is also meter. From law of indices, meter raised to power 1 plus 1 will be giving us meter squared. So the SI unit of area is meter squared. The second one is volume. Volume, on the other hand, is length times breadth times width, which is still meter times meter times meter, which will be giving us meter cubed. We talk about the third one, the velocity. Velocity is given as the rate of change of displacement. That is, displacement of a body with time taken, the ratio of the displacement covered by a body to the time taken. Displacement, on the other hand, the only measurable quantity there is distance, which is what? Meter, and the time is seconds. This will now give us meter over seconds, or we write this way, meter per second. This is because, recall I told us that in law of indices that 1 over seconds is the same thing as seconds raised to power minus 1. So either you write as meter stroke seconds or meter seconds raised to power minus 1. It is simply pronounced as meter per seconds. All right, we talk about the fourth one, acceleration. Acceleration is defined as the rate at which the velocity of a body increases. That is velocity over time. We have seen that velocity is meter per seconds divided by time, which is seconds. And this will be giving us meter because it has no partner. The 2 seconds have partners. We have seconds raised to power minus 1. Because of division, we have minus. Then bring up the power of this 1. Remember, seconds per second, because of division, minus, and we bring up this, and that gives us ms raised to power minus 2, or meter per second square. You pronounce meter per second squared. So the next one we shall be talking about is force. Force is given as the product of mass and the acceleration. So what is the SI unit of mass? It is kilogram. And that of acceleration is what? Meter per second squared. And that gives us the basic SI unit of force as kilogram meter per second square. Remember, I said basic SI unit. But when they say what is the SI unit of force, we can name it after the scientist who first discovered force, which is Isaac Newton. So the SI unit of force is Newton. But please, my students, anytime WAEC said state the basic SI unit of force, please don't write Newton, write kilogram meter per second square. Once the basic is included, we need only the fundamental quantities to be combined there. Now, I need you to do the following tasks. Deduce the SI unit of power and the pressure. Leave your answer in the comment section. Please always remember to like, follow, and share. Thank you very much.